Alright, so a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, can't remember how long ago now, I did a video ranking the Misfits X Series 001 fights in order from worst to best. There was 8 fights on that card. Um, yeah, I went through, give them worst fights to best fights, and give them ratings out of 10 for each. We're here now for Misfits X Series 002. We're doing the same. Now I went through, looked back at all the fights, give them a rating of, of entertainment value, plus the actual like good boxing that's being shown, like the quality of boxing, and my own personal enjoyment of an opinion on the fights. So there are 6 fights on the card. They were very long ago, so a lot of these fighters are a lot better now. So if you feel like I'm saying a good name and they've not got a good rating, it was October of 2022. We're in January of 2024. Cut them some slack. Alright, so coming in at number 6 is the first ever women's fight on Misfits. It was Astrid Wett versus Keely. I mean, this fight was truly tragic. There was a lot of smack talk going into it. There was, one was an OnlyFans girl, one was a TikTok girl, Simple Simon's daughter, Keely, and Astrid Wett that had beef or whatever, and they're going in talking all this smack. And the fight starts, and I mean, Astrid's like popping a jab like that, but Keely's just kind of going in and she's just eating that jab really, and it's really ugly. Like, it's just really shit. And after one round of just getting jabbed, Keely realises, oh, I'm absolutely useless, and retires in the corner. And that was it. It was just really bad. So I give the fight a 2 out of 10. Like, 2 out of 10 because I'm guessing, 1 out of 10 is literally the lowest you could rate it. 2 out of 10 is like, I guess some people might have found some enjoyment out of that because it was kind of funny. But yeah, that's that. 2 out of 10, really, really bad. Number 5, we have Halal Ham versus the debut of DTG. Now, if you look at DTG now, he's very good. He just put down Miles Raxu, a man who's 6'4", and was absolutely towering over him. But this was a time where Halal Ham was very out of shape, and he was fighting an out of shape DTG. And the fight was just scrappy. I mean, the fight started where the whole fight they were just getting smothered by each other and just kind of mushing together and just throwing their hands. And immediately DTG hit Halal Ham in the face with an elbow, breaking Halal Ham's nose and just slowing the pace down of the fight massively. DTG couldn't keep his pants up, and it was just really shit. Like, no one actually threw a normal punch. They were both kind of just going like that for 3 rounds. Either way, they just got to the end of the fight and then give it a split decision to Halal Ham, which I would agree, because I think Halal Ham had picked better shots, was more accurate with his shots, and actually had a bit more boxing experience than DTG. Yeah, a lot of people called that fight a robbery. A lot would say it'd be a draw. I wouldn't be angry at a draw. But I give the fight a 3 out of 10. I couldn't give it 2 out of 10 because it wasn't Astrid Wett Keely level, and it actually went all the rounds. Both men at least stood there and traded, but I mean, the fight was really awful. No man knew how to throw a punch. Especially given that Halal Ham was on the OG YouTuber boxing cards back in 2018, and this was 4 years later, and he hadn't improved one bit. That was a very underwhelming fight, but whatever. Cool to laugh at, I guess. Number 4, controversial one. JMX versus Ginty. Now, this is the return of JMX. He was highly anticipated after he fought on the OG boxing cards back in 2018. Everyone was waiting to see him back because they knew he was good. JMX, from the start, was one of the best technical YouTube boxers when we first saw him. And he's tall and athletic, so he's got power. He's got knockout power. And he was fighting Ginty on... And granted, he was fighting Ginty on 2 weeks' notice. Ginty had already had a fight on the first ever Kingpin card. And I think what this fight showed us is Ginty had a chin. But, I mean, the fight was mainly Ginty not really fighting back and just kind of trying to survive. And JMX looking for a knockout, but JMX seemed a bit nervous for the fight because obviously he hadn't been on a big stage in a while. I don't even think he does YouTube anymore, so he hadn't been on a big stage in a while, and he was just dead nervous and he wanted to get it over with, and he was just trying to rush the knockout, and it wasn't working. It was looking sloppy. He wasn't hitting things properly, and he even ended up getting himself knocked down, even though he didn't. He had Ginty up against the ropes, and Ginty just threw a swatting punch, and JMX like tried to dodge it, but in his excitement or nervousness, he was being too paranoid about it all, and he moved too quickly and lost his balance and stumbled onto his knees in a really embarrassing fall. That doesn't take away from the fact JMX dropped Ginty with a beautiful hook within like the first minute of the fight. But later on in the fight, it took a lot of beating and a lot of like just forward pressure from JMX to finally hit Ginty with some good shots, repeated shots, where his corner threw in the towel, and that dumb referee was still counting even though the towel was thrown in because he's just stupid. But yeah, JMX won by TKO, but it was just very sloppy. It was very hard to watch, and I felt kind of bad for JMX because I'm sure that wasn't the performance he would have wanted. So I gave the fight a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 because, ended in knockout. JMX won. It was quite cool to watch sometimes, but it's just, again, hard to watch. Bad boxing, really. Number 3, we're in the top half. We have Anthony Taylor versus Ashley Raksu. Now, we knew basically nothing about Anthony Taylor going into this. We knew he was a pro fighter. He used to be an MMA fighter, and he did a couple boxing matches. I think at this point he'd fought Tommy Fury. He'd been in the ring with Tommy Fury. He fought on the Show Star boxing card, the Deji Alex Wasabi one, where he fought that guy Mellow Fellow. He had a glorified spar, and it was just really bad. And then he had a fight with Ryan Taylor in Dubai before that, where they had a draw. Sure, it was just a money grab. But then he's fighting the debut of Ashley Raksu. Ashley Raksu, an X Factor, part of an X Factor band who made themselves an actual band. And one thing to take away from this fight, I mean, it showed Anthony Taylor was definitely quite levels above a lot of the Misfits fighters because he had boxing ability. Also, that Ashley Raksu was very athletic and was willing to just come forward. And I mean, it happened the first 3 seconds of the fight. Ashley Raksu runs in, catches an overhand and falls down, and he gets knocked down within 3 seconds. And the fight goes on, and Ashley Raksu staying in the fight in survival mode, but still kind of making the fight difficult for Anthony Taylor, which is kind of what Anthony Taylor does anyway. So yeah, but it was very one-sided fight for Anthony Taylor. Anthony Taylor destroyed him, but the technical boxing was great because Anthony Taylor being a pro fighter, you would expect that from him. And Ashley Raksu in his Misfits debut, apparently he had another fight somewhere else, but Ashley Raksu in his Misfits debut showed quite a bit of technical ability. It wasn't too bad to watch, I won't lie. And I gave this fight a rating of 6 out of 10. Quite a jump because it was quite impressive. I mean, knockdown in 3 seconds. There was other knockdowns, but they weren't proper knockdowns because they were kind of like pushes. But it was still kind of entertaining to watch, and the actual boxing, the level of boxing being showed was a lot higher than pretty much everything else on the card. So yeah. But coming in at number 2, it is the main event, Jay Swingler versus Churdleys. I mean, this one couldn't be the best fight because, I mean, it was the main event. It was the main event because Jay Swingler was in it, but it was a complete mismatch against Churdleys. Churdleys just no. No, I mean, Jay Swingler got rid of him in 1 round. Jay Swingler showed he was quick, powerful, had good head movement, and I think like he showed he could hit body shots. He knocked him down with a jab, and then he did a couple 1-2s, and my guy Churdleys slept. He slept. He fell in a most poetic, beautiful way that you'd love to see a boxer fall. Jay Swinger just destroyed him in 1 round. It was beautiful to watch because it was a cool knockout. I can't say he didn't see it coming because we did see it coming, but it also the boxing ability there from Jay was actually quite good. So I give it a 6.5 out of 10. I give it a 6.5. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't. It would have been a 6, but to put it on the same level as Anthony Taylor versus Ashley Raksu, 1, it's a list I need to want to be higher, and 2, Ashley Raksu and Anthony Taylor went all the rounds. Chase Mickle and Churdleys ended in the first. So yeah. And number 1, the best fight on this card. It's an obvious one though. Slim the Hitman versus Ryan Taylor. This was just, there was beef behind this because they were meant to fight on Kingpin card. And then they had a fight backstage and Ryan Taylor gave Slim a black eye. Then they actually set up their fight. Misfits set it up for them. And there was a lot of beef going into it. And Slim destroyed him. Slim just like outboxed him, even dropped him in the second round with a beautiful right overhand. There was blood everywhere. It was bloody. It was a scrap. But Ryan Taylor showed heart. Didn't want to go down, and he was making it difficult for Slim. He would still try to outpower Slim, still throw him around, still hit him with decent shots. Ryan Taylor didn't have good boxing ability here, but he had a good fight in him. And he was throwing some punches, and he was slugging out with Slim. And this was probably Slim's hardest fight. And it's not his best opponent, but it was definitely his hardest fight. Because he couldn't stop him. The man went down once and stood up straight away and was in his face. Like, it was uncanny. He was bleeding dramatically from the nose. And that overhand, that crumbled his knees. And he just stood up like, what? Do it again. So impressive. So, like, the entertainment. And granted, the crowd and the commentators probably hyped it up as well. But, like, still, the technical ability from Slim, it was like watching two gladiators fight. The knockdown, the blood, it was just, oh, it was so good. So I gave this fight a 7 out of 10. What a fight it was. I mean, who can disagree? Who can disagree? Great fight. Anyway, that's my rankings for Misfits X Series 002. Number 6, Astrid Red versus Keeley. Number 5, Halal Ham versus DTG. Number 4, JMX versus Ginty. Number 3, Anthony Taylor versus actually Raksu. Number 2, Jay Swingler versus Churdleys. And number 1, Slim versus Ryan Taylor. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Non-stop, on job, say less. It's tweeting and talking, better mind that you're walking, say less. Sometimes giving a mic, but sometimes I gotta say less. Too much talk on the road, so I just say less. Yeah, non-stop, on